Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for an update on Perpetua resources and the progress we've made in 2022 toward achieving our sustainability and ESG goals. I'm Chris Fogg, and I lead investor relations for Perpetua. Today, we have with us Laurel Sayer, President and CEO, and Mackenzie Lyon, VP of External Affairs. We will have a Q&A session following today's presentation, so please feel free to submit questions as we go along using the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. First, we'll hear from Laurel, so over to you, Laurel.
Thank you, Chris. We realized our 10th annual sustainability report we released our 10th annual sustainability report last month, which highlighted our many accomplishments in 2022. And we're excited to share some of them with you today. Our goal today is to provide an overview of Perpetua's approach to sustainability and ESG, including why we are unique in our industry, how our approach is designed to create value and mitigate risk for stakeholders, and our vision for responsible American mining and the reshoring of critical mineral production. So please take a moment to review the cautionary statements and the disclaimers on slides 2 and 3. Perpetua's vision is to redevelop and operate one of the highest grade, lowest cost open pit gold mines in the U.S. We will provide the country with a critical mineral for national defense and the clean energy transition, and we will restore an abandoned brownfield site. The Stibnite project will be powered by the lowest carbon emissions grid in the nation. Our ability to source low-cost Idaho hydropower together with a low strip ratio and an antimony byproduct credit of $70 per ounce positions our project in the lowest quartile of the global cost curve. These low costs drive great economics, and our project has a 15-year reserve life and payback period of less than 3 years. Stibnite is located in a great mining zip code. We have strong community support and access to existing infrastructure. I am proud of the support our team has built over the last decade as our fellow Idahoans and politicians. They have seen our dedication to responsible mining and restoration at Stibnite. As we look ahead, I'm excited about our opportunity to improve a legacy for Valley County and beyond, and create value for all of our stakeholders. We have an opportunity to take an area abandoned after 100 years of mining activity, most of which was to support World War II and the Korean War, and use a sustainable approach to restore the environment and develop a modern mining project with critical mineral production. I believe strongly that the industry and the environment can and must work together to restore the site, and we are leading the way in this aspect. Our approach to sustainability is guided by our core values, and it's based on the principles outlined in this slide. Our purpose is to leave the project site better than we found it, while creating a lasting legacy of economic benefits in the community. We act responsibly in everything we do, and we believe this approach will have a very positive influence on our long-term financial performance. We value transparency and provide clear, timely disclosure that allows our stakeholders to better understand and to evaluate the outcomes from our proposed project. We incorporate environmental, social, and governance factors in our decision-making because we believe we will ultimately drive our long-term success. We divide responsibilities and decision-making authority as a governance best practice. And we live our values, and we share our vision to better ourselves and society as a whole. Leaving the area better than we found it is a fundamental part of our vision. Cleanup efforts undertaken at the site by various parties in the past have provided incremental improvements to water quality and overall site conditions. However, numerous legacy materials and disturbances remain, which continue to degrade fish and other wildlife habitat, among other problems. Perpetua Resources restoration and mitigation plans provide early action on water quality and legacy feature cleanup, as well as concurrent restoration and reclamation for any new disturbance. Our project will ultimately improve water quality. It will restore fish passage that has been blocked for decades and clean up legacy tailings and waste sites. A more sustainable future has been a cornerstone of our company since the beginning, and the Stibnite project was built with responsible solutions in mind. We began environmental study and feedback gathering in 2010, long before we submitted our original plan of restoration and operations to the U.S. Forest Service in 2016. In 2014, we published our first annual sustainability and completed the installation of a solar panel array to provide power to buildings on site, reducing our carbon footprint and our costs. And in 2018, we completed our Dark Skies report, and we signed a community agreement establishing the Stibnite Advisory Council. In 2022, we launched our sustainability roadmap, received our first major permit, and we were awarded $24.8 million through a critical mineral award from the Department of Defense. Most importantly, we have continuously improved our project since the original plan of restoration and operations, and we have incorporated feedback from our communities and our stakeholders. We believe this iterative process ultimately led to an improved plan, which the U.S. Forest Service identified as the preferred alternative in the supplemental draft EIS published in late 2022. This is significant because under NEPA, a preferred alternative is identified by a federal agency to let the public know which action the agency is leaning toward selecting as final. So looking ahead, we continue to anticipate a final EIS and a draft record of decision for our project in late 2023, and a final record of decision in early 2024, based on the latest U.S. Forest Service schedule. As our project advances through the final stages of permitting, our ESG capabilities are maturing as well. We adopted the SASB, or called SASB reporting framework, last year, and our 2022 report marks our second year following this framework. Our approach to ESG is designed to mitigate risk and preserve value for our stakeholders. And as we mature, I believe our business is becoming stronger and more resilient. For example, we finished 2022 with 130 consecutive months with no reportable spills and 85 months with no lost time incidents. We launched a new community safety feedback tool to facilitate better communication. Our team members volunteered over 1,000 hours in the local community in 2022. We generated 25% of the energy at site from solar power. We also began early environmental cleanup work on site to proactively address legacy water contamination. And we're back at it again this summer. So being open and transparent about our performance is essential to earning and keeping the trust of our partners. And we encourage you to keep asking questions, work with us, and hold us accountable. Now I'll hand it over to Mackenzie for a deeper dive on our approach and performance.
Thank you, Laurel. So it is fair to say that over the last few years, we have seen a growing recognition that domestic mining truly is the first link to a more secure, sustainable, and ethical supply chain. But now the question that I hear more often is, okay, so great. We know we need to produce these minerals here at home, but how can we ensure that it's done responsibly? And so for us, I think we answer that question by saying that responsible mining means that the social, the economic, and the environmental outcomes of a project are just as important as the safe and economic development of the mineral resource. And so for us at Perpetua, responsible production means, like Laurel mentioned, providing transparency and accountability to our communities. It means listening to very sincerely and finding opportunities to adjust our project and collaborate with all stakeholders. It means ensuring that the economic benefits of the mine are shared. It has meant prioritizing the environmental outcomes of our project and putting into action our commitment to restore the site. It's meant supporting our people, our own team, by developing a diverse and inclusive workforce, ensuring that our safety culture keeps both our people and our communities safe. It's also becoming a reliable and trusted link in the supply chain for both clean energy and national defense needs. And it means reporting on our goals and the outcomes of our actions, just like Laurel said. And so I think truly for us, responsible production means doing business the right way. And we hope that our actions over the last decade, paired with a very clear path forward, help to demonstrate this commitment. So on our stakeholders, to us, stakeholders include any person or organization that could be impacted by our activities and that has a vested interest in our business. And our goal has been to build trust and partnership through first listening, then incorporating feedback and building systems, again, of transparency and accountability to truly show our work. And this includes meaningful engagement with all stakeholders, including those who have questions or concerns about the project. And quite honestly, it's through that engagement that we've learned a lot and adapted our plan based on feedback from concerned stakeholders and have been able to actively engage and put our commitments into action. And when we do that, it helps confirm the integrity of our word, and over time helps us build trust and will help us to continue to build trust over time. And we have an open door. So in the last 8 years, Perpetua has hosted over 1,000 presentations and community meetings and given over 200 tours of the project site, because it is so important to open our doors and show people who we are, what we're doing, and the conditions of site today. And this engagement has helped build a very robust group of informed and interested community members that was really illustrated in the comment period on the 2020 draft EIS, where over 15,500 supportive letters came in on our plan. In fact, that represents over 80% of all of the letters received said it's time to move this project forward. And I really believe it reflects a larger interest across the country that it is time. Americans are ready for us to move forward with domestic critical mineral development. But in reviewing these letters, a few things stuck out. So first, every state in the country was represented. Comments were submitted from stakeholders across the country saying how important this project is, not just for Idaho, but really for our nation. Secondly, there was a new sense of urgency around permitting the project, both wanting the environmental restoration and a domestic source of antimony. And third, we saw growing political support for the project. Over 95 letters came in from Idaho government officials on both sides of the aisle, demonstrating growing bipartisan support for our plan of restorations and operations. But not all of the feedback was positive. And I would also say, though, but it wasn't necessarily surprising, because we have been listening and we are aware that some people may never support the project, but we are doing everything that we can to listen, to communicate, and to find solutions with those who are willing to engage. And it is very, very true that over the last 7 years of regulatory review and work dedicated on this project, we're confident that our plan is the best, most viable action to restore the site and provide the critical minerals that we need today in a responsible fashion. So the supplemental draft EIS confirmed that our plan can bring net benefits to this abandoned mine site. The document showed that our project will provide additional passage on the East Fork, South Fork of the Salmon River, resulting in a major permanent regional and beneficial effect on Chinook salmon, steelhead, bull trout, and West Slope cutthroat trout. It's a mouthful on that one. It showed that water quality will be improved over baseline conditions, including a 40 to 47% reduction in arsenic in the rivers on site, and that water temperature was improved by 5 degrees Celsius compared to the 2020 draft EIS, again showing that iterative process has improved our project over time. And what is clear is that taking a no action alternative at Stibnite will not improve environmental conditions. And we believe that private investment in cooperation with state, local, and federal government truly is the best answer for Stibnite. So why is that? Well, because today there are millions of tons of abandoned tailings and waste, unlined and unconstrained, degrading water quality. The East Fork, South Fork of the Salmon River flows into the abandoned Yellow Pine mining pit, blocking salmon migration. And so it's very clear that this site needs help. And it is mineral redevelopment that brings the power of industrial scale operations and the resources needed to provide long-term solutions. And we've also been very careful to limit our own project disturbance footprint. So about over 50% of the project footprint is on previously disturbed ground. And over the years, we've been able to reduce that project footprint by over 13%. And to help limit the overall temporal footprint of the project, we've also designed the project to integrate legacy restoration and the restoration of our own disturbance concurrently with mining, not leaving critical restoration efforts until the end of the project. By restoring both legacy impacts and those associated with our own project, our plan shows an opportunity to leave site conditions better than they are today with self-sustaining aquatic and terrestrial ecosystems. And so through our mining operations, we will reestablish short and long-term passage for anadromous fish through the Yellow Pine Pit area. First, with the fish passage tunnel, and then ultimately with the permanent river restoration across the backfilled pit. Perpetua designed our tunnel to reconnect fish to their native spawning ground as quickly as possible. In fact, fish will be able to swim past the Yellow Pine Pit before mining begins, and for the first time since 1938. Our tunnel design is based on extensive research, and there really are a number of examples around the world that we drew from that document successful fish passage in tunnels of varying lengths, lighting conditions, and inclines. The final river restoration involves, again, backfilling that Yellow Pine Pit and truly is designed to reach a restoration standard of creating a resilient and dynamic system to truly mimic natural conditions. And then mining, of course, also gives us the opportunity to pick up, reprocess, and safely store millions of tons of legacy tailings, thereby improving water quality. And as Laurel mentioned briefly in her section, that cleanup is already starting. It's happening today. So we decided early on that we wanted to be a part of the solution as soon as possible. And as Laurel mentioned earlier, we are so proud that legacy cleanup has already begun. Last year, we broke ground on early cleanup activities and water quality improvements at the site under an agreement, the ASAOC, which is an agreement with the EPA and the Department of Agriculture. And this agreement was necessary to both authorize Perpetua to do this voluntary environmental work, but also to do it without inheriting the liability of the conditions left behind by past operators. The first 4 years, or first phase, is a 4-year phase of this agreement, and it's expected to run through 2024. This first phase includes removing about 300,000 tons of legacy waste and tailings away from the river and rerouting streams to keep clean water clean. Immediate time-critical needs are addressed in this first 4-year phase, and then the agreement would allow for more comprehensive cleanup activities if and when the project is approved. So work on site under this agreement so far has included lining and improving streams to prevent surface water from moving through legacy dump areas and thereby picking up metals. And it has also included removing the Defense Mineral Exploration Administration legacy adit waste rock dump from within and alongside the tributary of the East Fork, South Fork of the Salmon River, and restoring the original stream flow course. And now this year, we are partnering with Iron Woman. We are so proud to partner with because of so many shared values around environmental performance, safety, and community engagement. And their team is helping us this year conduct additional cleanup work at site that is already underway and includes relocating over 300,000 tons of historic tailings and mine waste away from the East Fork, South Fork of the Salmon River. So it is absolutely the gold endowment at Stibnite that provides an opportunity for us to responsibly mine and restore the site from all of these past legacies that remain today using private investment. And gold is absolutely a well-known strategic store of wealth in many and used in many industrial uses too. But it's our antimony that absolutely sets this project apart. As the only domestic reserve of antimony, we offer a critical defense resource. Antimony is an essential and non-replaceable component in the primers for hundreds of munition types, everything from small caliber ammunition to mortars and tank weaponry. Interestingly, it's also found in military clothing, in night vision goggles, in infrared sensors, flares, and other critical applications. Antimony trisulfide, or stibnite, is the key chemical formulation needed for defense munitions, and our project has the only identified domestic source able to meet defense requirements. If our project does not move forward, there are no identified domestic alternatives that can meet the military's needs. And we're confident in our ability to meet the military specifications for antimony trisulfide because historically, our site supplied the War Department with 90% of the antimony demand and helped define, during World War II and the Korean War, and helped define the current specifications for munitions products today. So we are very excited that in December of 2022, we received a Critical Minerals Award through the Department of Defense under the Defense Production Act Title III program to advance permitting and construction readiness for our project. The Title III program is intended to ensure that the American industrial base has the resources, materials, and technologies needed for national security. And Perpetua was awarded up to $24.8 million to complete the environmental and engineering studies necessary to obtain the final environmental impact statement, a final record of decision, and other ancillary permits to advance construction readiness. And I am very pleased to announce that just this week, that agreement was definitized. Big picture, the global supply of antimony has been under Chinese control and interests for decades. More recently, in the last decade or so, the Chinese government has systematically taken even greater control over the antimony market by purchasing mineral resources and processing facilities around the globe. In fact, in 2022, 90% of the global supply of antimony was controlled by China, Russia, and Tajikistan. But as one of the largest economic reserves of antimony not controlled by the Chinese, our project can help us put our country back in control of our supply chain, not just for defense minerals, but also for the clean energy supply chain as well. And that's because In 2021, Perpetua entered into a long-term partnership agreement to provide a portion of the antimony from the Stibnite Gold Project to Ambri, an American battery storage company. Now, their battery technology is unique in that it relies on a combination of antimony and calcium, and it is scalable up to 2 gigawatt hours. The batteries are reliable in the environment and are 30 to 50% lower cost than the lithium ion comparables in 2020 to 2023 market. These batteries have a 20-year lifespan, and Ambri has committed to US manufacturing with a significant joint project announced recently with a major US utility company. And so with the agreement between Perpetua and Ambri, our antimony can power approximately 13 gigawatt hours of battery capacity on a daily cycle for 20 years. And this partnership absolutely highlights the role that modern, responsible, domestic mining can play in a clean energy future. And with that, Laurel, I'll hand it back over to you to talk about our approach to governance.
Great, thank you, Mackenzie. Perpetua's approach to governance is focused on mitigating risk and providing a foundation to support long-term value creation. As a publicly traded company, we are dedicated to the highest standards and have robust policies in place. Corporate governance begins with our board of directors, who provide oversight of our risks and help guide the strategic direction of the company. Perpetua's full board is engaged in oversight of specific ESG topics, including stakeholder engagement, enterprise risk management, cybersecurity, sustainability policies, government relations, and emergency planning and response. The board also delegates certain risk oversight to their 4 committees: audit, compensation, corporate governance and nominating, and the technical committee. These 4 committees are focused on ESG topics highlighted on the right-hand side of this slide. As I mentioned earlier, we continue to ramp up our ESG efforts and capabilities as our project advances through permitting. This year, our sustainability report again was developed to align with the SASB reporting framework from the metals and mining industry. That framework, together with our guiding ESG principles, review of the industry landscape, and discussions from our management team and board, help determine our material topics for 2022. As we move towards project development, the factors most material to our business may change, but we will continue to use a holistic approach focused on the areas that have the greatest potential impact to our business and our stakeholders. Now, this slide includes a snapshot of our material topics for 2022, and detailed reporting on each topic can be found in our sustainability report. So in closing, Perpetua is unique because we bring solutions. We have a large, low-cost and high-grade open-pit gold mine. We will offer the only domestic mine source of the critical mineral antimony, and we will use mine development to fund restoration at an abandoned mine site. I believe Perpetua's strong ESG principles will continue to support our broader vision, and it will unlock value for our stakeholders as we advance through this permitting process. So thank you, and now I will hand it over to Chris.
So thank you everyone for joining us today on an update of Perpetua and discussion of our approach to sustainability. For more information or to check out our sustainability report, again, that was issued, was published last month, please check out our website, perpetuaresources.com. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.